Hey guys, let me ask you something. Are you maxing out your 401k every year, feeling like you're doing everything right, but still lying awake at night wondering if it's enough? You're not alone. The truth is, most Americans are saving wrong for retirement, and nobody wants to tell you the uncomfortable reality. We've all heard the benchmarks. $1 million, $1.5 million, or even higher as the magic number you need to retire comfortably. But what if I told you that number isn't actually based on your life, your spending, or even your guaranteed income? What if it was designed to make you feel behind, stressed, and overworked? Here's the kicker. According to federal data, the majority of Americans over 50 don't even have $200,000 saved. Yet everywhere you look, websites, advisors, and financial articles are shouting that you need $1 million or more just to survive. That's like telling someone they need a full tank of gas just to drive across town. The number looks impressive, scary, and official, but it doesn't actually match real life. And here's the part most people miss. Focusing only on your 401k or IRA is like filling a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour in all the money you want, and it will still feel empty. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two friends, Sarah and Tom. Sarah follows every benchmark, tracks every number, and constantly checks her portfolio. She's saving aggressively, skipping vacations, and still feels behind. Tom, on the other hand, looks at the bigger picture. He knows his guaranteed income from Social Security and a small pension will cover most of his basic expenses. His savings is just there to fill the gap for extras, travel, hobbies, emergencies. Guess who sleeps better at night? You're already sensing it, right? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why most people's retirement strategy is misaligned and how you can flip the script. We'll break down the numbers, expose the common traps in conventional advice, and introduce a simple framework that helps you measure your real needs. It's not about how much you have saved in your account. It's about how much guaranteed income you have and how much you actually need to live the retirement you want. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the traditional focus on just piling up savings can make you feel anxious, and why shifting your focus changes everything. Plus, I'll give you a step-by-step way to calculate your own income floor, so you know exactly what you need without stressing over arbitrary benchmarks. Quick question for you. Drop a comment below with "me" if you've ever felt like you're saving everything right, but still somehow falling behind. Trust me, you're not alone, and you're about to see why it's not your fault. All right, let's jump into it and uncover why the retirement advice you've been following might be completely off, and what you can do to take back control of your future. Now that we've set the stage, let's dig into why the advice you've been following might be misleading. For decades, retirement planning in the U.S. shifted dramatically. Back in the day, most workers had pensions, defined benefit plans that guaranteed a steady monthly check for life. You didn't need to worry about markets, withdrawals, or asset allocation. Your parents, aunts, and uncles could rely on a predictable income, and retirement planning was straightforward. Fast forward to today, and that security is largely gone. Defined benefit pensions were phased out, replaced by defined contribution plans like 401ks and IRAs, which put the onus entirely on you. Now, it's your responsibility to figure out how much to save, where to invest it, and whether it will last your entire retirement. This is where the problem starts. The retirement industry, intentionally or not, gave you benchmarks, numbers like $1 million, $1.5 million, or even $2 million, and told you that was what you needed to retire comfortably. These numbers often come from surveys, media reports, or model-based assumptions that ignore the real story. Guaranteed income sources like Social Security or pensions, housing that's already paid off, and the fact that your expenses often drop once you retire. When you focus only on your 401k balance, it feels like you're behind, even if your income floor already covers your essential costs. Let's look at a real-life example. Meet Sarah, 52. She's diligent, maxing her 401k contributions every year, checking her balance constantly, and obsessing over the benchmarks she's seen online. By most standards, she's doing everything right. But here's the catch. Sarah doesn't fully account for the guaranteed income she will receive. She doesn't consider Social Security, which will provide a significant portion of her monthly expenses, nor does she factor in her fully paid-off home. Despite her hard work, Sarah still lies awake worrying she's not saving enough. This is the emotional trap that many Americans fall into. You feel behind because the benchmark doesn't reflect your reality. Contrast Sarah with Tom, also 52. Tom isn't reckless, but he doesn't obsess over hitting an arbitrary target. Instead, he calculates his guaranteed income, Social Security, a small pension, and a modest rental property. He then determines how much additional savings he needs to cover discretionary spending, things like travel, hobbies, and emergencies. Tom's approach isn't flashy, but it works. He sleeps better, invests with confidence, and doesn't let market swings dictate his stress level. The difference between Sarah and Tom isn't luck or income, it's perspective. One focuses on the total savings balance, the other focuses on actual needs. Another factor making this saving wrong problem worse is the fee structure of financial advisors. Many advisors earn primarily through assets under management. The more dollars you accumulate in your accounts, the more revenue they generate. There's an incentive to encourage clients to save more aggressively and feel perpetually behind if they haven't reached the benchmark. It's not a conspiracy. It's a disclosed business model, but it reinforces the anxiety you feel. Suddenly, every benchmark, every financial article, every newsletter you read seems like it's designed to keep you chasing numbers instead of focusing on your actual financial picture. Let's also talk about sequence risk, the danger of withdrawing money from your portfolio at the wrong time. If you rely heavily on savings and neglect guaranteed income, a market downturn early in retirement can cause serious setbacks. Sarah's focus on hitting the $1 million mark forces her to withdraw more from her 401k early, increasing her exposure to sequence risk. Tom, on the other hand, has his guaranteed income floor already covering most expenses, so he can leave his savings untouched during market dips, drastically reducing his risk. This tension between how much do I need to save and how much do I actually need to cover my expenses is where the traditional advice falls short. By focusing purely on savings totals and ignoring guaranteed income, most Americans are trapped in a cycle of anxiety, skipped vacations, and overly conservative or reactive investment decisions. The real problem isn't how much you save, it's how you think about what you actually need. In the next section, we'll introduce a framework that flips this perspective completely. You'll see why separating your guaranteed income from your savings can remove unnecessary stress, reduce sequence risk, and give you a clear roadmap for retirement. But first, keep Sarah and Tom in mind. Two people with similar incomes and savings habits, yet drastically different outcomes. Understanding the difference between their approaches is key to breaking free from the saving wrong trap. Now that we understand how traditional advice misleads, let's dig deeper by comparing two real-life scenarios. Remember Sarah, the diligent saver who maxes out her 401k, but still lies awake worrying about retirement? Let's pair her story with Tom, someone with a similar income and savings history, but a completely different approach. This comparison will show you exactly why many people feel anxious despite doing everything right. Sarah's focus has been on hitting a high benchmark number, the $1.5 million target she's seen online and in financial articles. She's obsessively tracking her portfolio, skipping vacations, and even cutting back on fun purchases to save a little more. Each market fluctuation feels like a personal failure. If her 401k dips by 5%, she panics, thinking she's falling behind. This is a behavioral pattern many Americans experience. It's not just about money. It's about the emotional cost of believing the benchmark is your only safety net. Every month she checks her balance. The stress compounds. Tom, on the other hand, approaches retirement differently. He calculates his guaranteed income first: Social Security, a small pension, and a little rental income from a property he owns. Then he looks at his expected monthly expenses, factoring in that some costs will decrease once he retires. No commuting, no work lunches, no professional wardrobe requirements. Instead of chasing an arbitrary total, Tom identifies the exact gap his savings need to cover. The result? He invests calmly, doesn't panic during market swings, and still has enough to enjoy discretionary spending in retirement. This contrast highlights one of the biggest mistakes people make: over-relying on savings numbers without considering income sources. It's easy to see why Sarah feels behind. Her perspective is skewed by the benchmark, ignoring the predictable cash flow she'll actually have. Tom, however, views his situation through what we'll later call the two-pile framework, separating guaranteed income from discretionary savings. This mindset shift isn't just theoretical. It directly impacts emotional well-being and investment behavior. Another factor that amplifies stress for savers like Sarah is the fee structure of financial advisors. Many advisors earn a percentage of assets under management. The more money you have in your accounts, the more revenue they generate. This creates a subtle incentive to encourage clients to save more and worry more, whether consciously or not. Every benchmark you see, every newsletter, every article that tells you you're behind subtly reinforces this cycle. Sarah is caught in this system. Tom avoids it by focusing on what he controls, calculating his income floor, and only using savings to fill the gap. Let's also consider sequence risk, the danger of withdrawing from your savings at the wrong time. If you rely heavily on your 401k and IRA without factoring in guaranteed income, a market downturn in the early years of retirement can have catastrophic effects. Sarah, with her intense focus on hitting the benchmark, may feel compelled to withdraw more aggressively, increasing her vulnerability. Tom, on the other hand, doesn't need to tap into his savings early because his guaranteed income covers basic living costs. This drastically reduces his exposure to sequence risk and provides peace of mind. By now, it should be clear, the emotional stress many people feel isn't about the actual numbers. They could have enough money to live comfortably, but about perspective and strategy. Sarah feels behind because she's looking at the wrong lens. Tom feels secure because he aligns his savings with his actual needs and guaranteed income. In the next section, we'll introduce a practical framework that allows anyone to replicate Tom's approach. This method separates your guaranteed income from your savings so you can stop obsessing over arbitrary targets and start focusing on real numbers that matter. We'll go step by step, showing you how to calculate your income floor, your savings gap, and your true retirement needs. By understanding the contrast between Sarah and Tom, you'll start to see the hidden forces shaping your retirement anxiety, and more importantly, how to break free from them. The difference isn't luck, it's strategy. And you're about to learn exactly how to apply it to your own life. All right, guys, this is where everything starts to click. If you've been following Sarah and Tom, you already see the difference perspective makes. Now, let me introduce you to a simple concept that transforms how you approach retirement: the two-pile framework. Think of it as dividing your resources into two distinct piles, each serving a completely different purpose. Pile 1. Guaranteed income. This is the foundation of your retirement security. Social security, a pension, rental income, anything that deposits money into your bank account every month, no matter what the markets do. This pile is your baseline. It covers your essential living expenses. It's predictable, reliable, and inflation-adjusted in some cases, like Social Security. Sarah has been ignoring this pile, which is why she feels constantly behind, while Tom has been leveraging it fully. Pile 2. Your savings. This includes your 401k, IRA, brokerage accounts, money you've accumulated and invested over your career. But unlike Pile 1, Pile 2 is flexible. It's not meant to cover your basic expenses. It's designed to fill the gap between your guaranteed income and the lifestyle you want in retirement. Think of it as a buffer, a fund for travel, hobbies, healthcare costs above the norm, or emergencies. Here's why this matters. Most benchmarks and financial advice blur the lines between these two piles, treating all your money as if it needs to be part of a single, massive savings account. That's what makes the $1.5 million target seem urgent. But in reality, if you have a solid Pile 1, your Pile 2 doesn't need to be anywhere near that number. It only needs to bridge the gap. Let's take an example. Suppose your essential monthly expenses are $4,500. Your guaranteed income, Social Security and a small pension, covers $3,000. That leaves $1,500 per month to be covered by savings. Using a conservative 4% withdrawal rate, you only need approximately $450,000 in Pile 2 to safely cover that gap for a 30-year retirement. Notice that's a far cry from the $1.5 million benchmark Sarah has been chasing. This simple calculation immediately removes the unnecessary stress, and it's why Tom sleeps better at night. The two-pile framework also helps with market volatility. When your essential expenses are covered by Pile 1, you don't have to sell investments during market downturns. Your Pile 2 can grow patiently over time, dramatically reducing sequence risk, the danger of running out of money early because you had to sell low. Sarah, in contrast, felt pressured to sell or rebalance aggressively whenever the market dipped, exposing her to unnecessary risk. Now, let's connect this framework to your behavior. Understanding your income floor, the sum of guaranteed monthly income, is key. Once you know exactly what your baseline expenses are, you can clearly see what Pile 2 needs to cover. This clarity transforms anxiety into actionable strategy. You're no longer chasing arbitrary benchmarks. Instead, you're calculating what actually matters, how much of your savings you truly need, and how much you can comfortably let grow. Here's another angle: the psychological impact. When you see your savings in context, you stop feeling behind. You start making smarter decisions. You avoid panic selling, over-allocating to safe but low-return assets, and impulsively buying complicated financial products. Your money works for you rather than you working for a number on a spreadsheet. Tom's approach isn't just safer financially, it's emotionally liberating. By applying the two-pile framework, you align your savings with your life rather than a manufactured benchmark. You gain control, reduce stress, and optimize your retirement strategy in a way that actually matters. This isn't a trick or theory. It's a practical, actionable shift that any American nearing retirement can implement today. In the next section, we'll layer in Social Security and other guaranteed income sources more specifically, showing exactly how to calculate your income floor and adjust your savings accordingly. Once you see the math, the so-called benchmarks lose all their power. Sarah's story will start to look a lot like Tom's, and your own retirement anxiety can begin to ease immediately. All right, guys, now that we've covered the two-pile framework, let's dive deeper into guaranteed income, the first pile, and why it changes everything about retirement planning. Most people, like Sarah, underestimate this part completely. They focus on 401ks, IRAs, and brokerage accounts, believing they need an enormous pile of savings. But in reality, guaranteed income from Social Security, pensions, or rental income covers a significant portion of your monthly expenses, often enough to pay for all your essentials. Take Social Security. For a worker with average lifetime earnings, claiming at full retirement age provides roughly $1,800 to $2,500 per month today. If you're married and both partners worked, combined benefits could easily be $3,500 to $4,500 per month. Think about that. A private annuity paying that much, adjusted for inflation for life, would cost nearly $1 million up front. Yet millions of households get it for free because it's already built into the system. That's your foundation, your guaranteed floor, and it's something the benchmarks conveniently ignore. Now, let's revisit Sarah and Tom. Sarah has $800,000 in her 401k, but no clear understanding of her guaranteed income. She thinks she needs $1 million or more in savings to retire comfortably. Tom, on the other hand, knows his Social Security and small pension will cover most essential expenses. That means he only needs to use his savings to cover discretionary spending, vacations, hobbies, emergencies, not rent, food, or utilities. This difference is huge, both financially and emotionally. Here's the math in action. Suppose your monthly spending in retirement is $4,500, and your Social Security and pension bring in $3,250. That leaves a gap of $1,250 per month, or $15,000 per year. Using a conservative 4% withdrawal rate, you only need $375,000 in your savings pile to cover that gap, not the $1.5 million Sarah's been stressing over. This calculation instantly reframes your financial reality. The anxiety induced by arbitrary benchmarks disappears because you can see exactly what your savings need to cover. Guaranteed income also reduces sequence risk. When your essentials are covered, you don't need to sell investments during a market downturn. Tom never has to panic sell because his bills are already taken care of. Sarah, focused on hitting benchmarks without considering her floor, feels forced to adjust her portfolio aggressively during market swings, exposing her to risk and stress. The psychological impact is just as important. Knowing your income floor allows you to invest strategically rather than reactively. You're no longer chasing a number on a screen. You can allocate your savings to opportunities that actually match your lifestyle goals, not just arbitrary targets. Tom invests patiently, knowing his guaranteed income covers his needs. He sleeps at night, enjoys hobbies, and avoids costly emotional mistakes like panic selling. And here's the best part. Calculating your guaranteed income isn't complicated. Social Security provides tools online to estimate benefits at different claiming ages. Add in any pension income or rental payments, and you have a clear picture of your income floor. Once you know it, everything else, the size of your savings pile, your investment strategy, even your retirement lifestyle, becomes clear. You're no longer trapped in fear or chasing a number that doesn't matter. By integrating guaranteed income with the two-pile framework, you finally see why the traditional advice misleads so many people. It's not about how much you've saved overall. It's about what you actually need to cover your real-life expenses. This perspective turns Sarah's story from one of stress into a model anyone can follow. Next, we'll explore the behavioral and psychological cost of believing you're behind and how it drives poor financial decisions. Understanding this is critical because it's not just numbers. It's how you feel and act every single day that can make or break your retirement. Now let's talk about the hidden cost of thinking you're behind. The psychological and behavioral impact. This is where many people, like Sarah, unknowingly sabotage themselves. When you believe your savings are insufficient, you don't just feel stressed, you make systematically worse financial decisions. Panic selling during market corrections, over-allocating to low-return, safe investments, or avoiding engagement with your finances entirely are all common reactions. These behaviors compound the very problem you're trying to solve. Consider Sarah again. Every market dip sends her heart racing. She reallocates her portfolio out of fear, missing long-term growth opportunities. She skips investment opportunities she doesn't fully understand, like employer matching contributions or Roth conversions. Meanwhile, her emotional state worsens, reinforcing the anxiety that she isn't doing enough. This is what behavioral finance research calls the cost of misperceived scarcity. It's real, measurable, and more damaging over time than small fee percentages or minor market losses. Tom, by contrast, has clarity. He knows his guaranteed income covers essentials, so he can view his savings as a flexible buffer. When markets fluctuate, he stays calm, avoids panic-driven trades, and focuses on long-term strategy. His stress is minimal, and his decisions are rational, aligned with his goals, not driven by fear or benchmarks. This section of the retirement puzzle is critical because it reveals why saving wrong isn't just about numbers. It's about how you feel, think, and act. The benchmarks create a false sense of deficiency, and that emotional pressure drives bad decisions that erode wealth and peace of mind. By recalculating your needs with the two-pile framework and factoring in guaranteed income, you remove the psychological trap. You stop reacting to manufactured stress and start making informed, confident choices. Understanding this behavior is key to transforming your retirement experience. It's not just about having enough money. It's about feeling secure, confident, and in control of your finances. Once you adjust your perspective, the fear of being behind disappears, your decision-making improves, and your actual financial outcomes are stronger. Tom's calm, strategic approach is proof that knowing your floor and separating it from your savings pile changes everything. Up next, we'll translate all this insight into practical action steps you can take today to calculate your real retirement needs and regain control over your financial future. All right, guys, now it's time to take action. All the concepts we've covered, the two-pile framework, guaranteed income, and understanding your true savings gap are powerful, but only if you apply them. Here's how to get started today. Step 1. Calculate your guaranteed income. Log into the Social Security website and check your estimated benefits at ages 62, full retirement, and 70. Add any pensions, annuity payments, or rental income to get your income floor, the money that will reliably come in every month. This is your foundation, the baseline that covers essentials. Step 2. Estimate your actual retirement spending. Don't use vague percentages of your current income. Build a detailed line-item budget, including housing, food, healthcare, discretionary spending, and travel. Factor in reductions like paid-off mortgage, eliminated commuting costs, and children becoming independent. This gives you the true spending number. Step 3. Calculate your savings gap. Subtract your guaranteed income from your actual spending to find how much your savings need to cover. Apply a safe withdrawal rate, like 4%, to determine the total amount you need in your savings pile. Compare this to what you have now, and you'll see your real progress without the stress of arbitrary benchmarks. This simple process removes uncertainty, reduces anxiety, and ensures your investments align with your real-life needs, not a manufactured number. Remember, the goal isn't to hit an arbitrary target. It's to cover your expenses comfortably and have a buffer for the life you want. Drop a comment with "Go" if you're going to calculate your income floor and savings gap today. It only takes a few minutes, but it can completely change how you view your retirement. By following these steps, you gain clarity, reduce sequence risk, and start making confident financial decisions based on facts, not fear. It's your turn to take control and stop letting benchmarks dictate your peace of mind. All right, guys, let's wrap this up and tie everything together. We've covered a lot today. The two-pile framework, the importance of guaranteed income, the savings gap, and the psychological cost of chasing arbitrary benchmarks. By now, you should understand why most Americans are saving wrong and how to flip the script so you can take control of your retirement without unnecessary stress. The key takeaway is this: stop obsessing over arbitrary numbers like $1 million or $1.5 million. Those benchmarks were never designed with your life or your needs in mind. They were created to sell a story and, sometimes, financial products. What matters is your income floor and the gap your savings need to cover. Once you calculate your guaranteed income from Social Security, pensions, or other sources and determine your actual retirement spending, you can see clearly how much your savings should actually be. Often, it's far less than what you've been told. Think about Sarah and Tom. Sarah followed benchmarks obsessively and stressed herself out, while Tom focused on his guaranteed income and calculated savings gap. Tom's approach gave him freedom, confidence, and clarity, while Sarah remained anxious and reactive. Your goal is to be like Tom: strategic, calm, and empowered. Understanding your floor gives you control over your finances and your peace of mind. Here's what you can do next. Take a few minutes today to log into Social Security, list any pension or guaranteed income sources, and estimate your real retirement expenses. Calculate the difference to find your savings gap. This simple exercise is powerful. It replaces uncertainty and anxiety with actionable clarity. Drop a comment with "Plan" if you're going to apply the two-pile framework and recalculate your retirement strategy this week. It's a small step that can change your future dramatically. Remember, retirement planning isn't about hitting a big scary number. It's about covering your expenses, Protecting your lifestyle, and maintaining flexibility and control. Once you understand the difference between guaranteed income and discretionary savings, the benchmarks lose their power. You gain freedom, confidence, and the ability to make rational decisions without fear. So, start today. Take control, calculate your floor, and let your savings serve you instead of running your life. The best person to take care of your future is the version of you today, making smart, informed decisions. Until the next video, peace.